Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and joining me today is a brand new rock star. I can't wait to dig into this conversation. She's a seven-figure e-com store mentor and coach. I want to talk about that in a minute. She's the owner of Knitted Bell Boutique, Carina Hatton. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I want to dive right in because, being a mentor and coach to entrepreneurs, I enjoy working with entrepreneurs as well. And one of the things I've seen is so many entrepreneurs are like, look, everyone is my customer. The thing that I sell or the thing that I do, everyone buys, right? So I always say that's not a great way to go to market. So can you talk a little bit about the power of figuring out exactly who your real customer is?
Oh my gosh, that is like the kiss of death to a business is I want to be a one-stop shop. I just cringe when I hear that. You have got to really, really nail down that one person that you are going to sell to. Especially, I teach a lot of ladies that have boutiques, and you have to know where that lady hangs out. Does she have kids? Is she married? Does she go out on the weekends? And literally you buy for that one person. Unless you have a huge budget like Target. I mean, it takes for every person that you add to that, you're going to have several $1,000s to bring in inventory for that person.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's funny when people hear that, because I want to dig in just for a minute about this, because I think even when I talk to my sales team about that it's not that you're like, if somebody else walks into your boutique, you're slamming the door in their face. It's really just about, hey, where am I spending my time and my money, my treasure and talent to try and focus on those folks? And then if other people come along for the ride, that's great, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, it is. And that's how you get seven figures is, you go deep, not wide. And you dig into that profile of that person. And you're going to find that your people are going to be attracted to you and they're going to find you. People like who you're buying for. For example, like if it's the 25 to 35 and they like the more fitted clothing, people that like that kind of thing will be attracted to your store over someone that is buying, and you'll have more stuff to offer, right?
Right.
Than someone that's got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. People like to browse. And that's one thing I teach is you have to have, your store has to be shoppable. So people don't want to go and see that you have two or three things for them. They want to go and have a multitude of products to choose from. And so when you're buying for that one person, that allows you to keep that person occupied long enough on your site to where they will actually make a purchase.
That makes a ton of sense. So I love that. You mentioned the seven figures things. You teach people to go from 0 to 7 figures in sales, and that's amazing. So I think everybody likes that idea. So what tips can you give me or the audience to do that?
It's focus and consistency and really digging into your numbers, just seeing like, you put some product out there and you see who you attract initially. And then when you see who your top customers are and your top spenders, you buy more stuff that those people like. And the goal, the way you hit 7 figures is you sell stuff as fast as possible. So like what I teach is when you buy something, you don't have to love it, but you need to understand that you can sell it within 30 days or less. And if you can't get it out the door in 30 days or less, I don't care how cute it is, you do not buy it, because you have to turn your money. You have to sell product, get your money back, sell product, get your money back. And that's how you grow. Cause I only started with $200 and I did 7 figures in sales by my second year. And it's from fast and furious, And so you really do have to stay focused. And the other thing is, don't get distracted by shiny objects, because when you're new, you can see, I'll get an email sometimes and it's about a new app. And before I know it, I've spent 30 minutes looking at this app that has nothing to do with anything. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's nice, but that won't help me. So you really have to ask yourself, is this time spent getting me to my goal? And really every day for like the last 20 years as a business owner, That is how I've thought.
Mm-hmm.
When I spend my time on something, is it getting me to my goals? If
Right.
it's not, you need to not spend your time on it, at least your work time.
Yeah. It's funny how easily how easy it is to get sucked away. Right. Like, and I think as entrepreneurs, we're like that too, because we like the new shiny thing because it looks interesting and different or whatever, but that focus is super powerful. So that's great advice. So, obviously as a coach, you're talking to people, not only business or whatever. So what's something you recommend people start doing that can help their life, whether it's in business or their personal life, for the better?
The one thing that I've always done since I can remember, I was probably 12 or 13 when my dad handed me an Tony Robbins book. I have always read every single day. I read something that will help me to grow. And it's incremental. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you add up, I can't remember how many it is, but over a year, how many books you will have read if you just read like 10, 20 pages a day. It has helped me to get where I'm at today, beyond measure. Just always be learning. The other thing is the understanding that your success or failure is in your head. And I've seen so many ladies just give up after 3 or 4 months because they think, oh, it's just not going to work for me. When the reality is it takes time to build a business from scratch. And a lot of people think they're just going to turn on a website and like people are going to come and buy stuff. And it's just not true. So you really have to have that drive, that I call it the why. Why do you want this? And it has to be strong enough to where when you're having a bad day or you're feeling defeated or something like that, that you push on through that. So I think that, just tenacity, just not giving up and just always learning. But on the other side, those people that are like that, entrepreneurial, the always learning thing can also be a distraction. Because like we were just talking about, you can go down a rabbit hole for an hour learning something that really isn't going to get you anywhere. So you kind of have to block off that learning time and say, okay, I'm going to learn for, an hour a day. I'm going to let myself research. And then I go back to things that I know work. Yeah.
No, I love that. And I'm a big reader as well. And it reminds me actually of a book I just recently read by Ed Milet. It's The Power of One More. And he spends a lot of time talking about, he uses the example of the piñata at the birthday party. He's like, the first person hits it, the second person hits it, and there's no visible progress. But over the course of people hitting it, finally the last kid goes up there, hits it, there's candy everywhere. But it wasn't that one hit. It was the consistent, hitting over time.
That.
And I think that's sort of what you were talking about there. It's like you don't always see it, it's incremental, but if you stick with it, there's a lot of power in that. So I think that's great advice. All right, final question for you. If you're someone who wants to start a business, if you're listening to this right now and you're like, okay, I want to start a business, whether it's a boutique or an e-com or whatever you want, how do you know when it's time to stop dreaming and start to take action?
When you're strong enough to push through the hard days and you're willing to give it the time that it needs. Because mentally you have to be prepared, because owning a business is like nothing I can probably ever compare it to. There's so many ups and downs that you really have to have thick skin. And especially with e-commerce, you have customers that will never see you face to face in person. And people say things online. So you really have to be prepared for that lady that's having a bad day or just got caught up in traffic, and she's going to take it out on you because you shipped the wrong product to her. And really, so when you're prepared for that, you're prepared for battle, you're prepared to do what it takes and push through those bad days, but yet you're committed for the long term.
Right.
That it's not going to happen in the 3 to 4 month period. It takes time. And so those two things, and on top of that, you do have to have some money to invest. All these businesses, they say that you could get in and make a bunch of money, and you're either going to spend money or time to have a business, right? So be prepared to either spend money or time, and a lot of it, not
Or
a lot,
both.
but like a pretty good amount of it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, and just mentally, like, just if you're prepared for all of that, I think you have the best opportunity for success, because it really is not an easy thing. I've been working for myself for 20 years, and there have been some bad days and very, very hard times. And you just have to be able to believe in yourself and just, keep at it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes, the concept of just doing one more, just keeping going, is sometimes the most powerful advice we can hear. And I think it's great advice from you today. So Carina, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll do it again sometime. Okay.
All right.
Cool. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.